You're listening to The Building Code. I'm Tom Houghton, joined by my co-host, Paul Worth, VP of Sales.
Hello. That's me.
Hey, that's you, Paul.
That was a new intro for us, but we're working it out.
We're working it out.
It's good.
We're workshopping it.
Moving on to our guest.
We're joined today by Brandon Patterson from Iowa Skilled Trades. Brandon, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Hello, Brandon. We are live from BTU.
Yep.
This is my personal favorite episodes because there's a lot of energy, a lot of buzz.
And you can hear it in the background.
Right, which gives you anxiety. But don't worry, it'll be fine.
We're going to make it. Tom,
the sound engineer. But yeah, super happy to have you here, Brandon. What do you think of BTU so far?
This is amazing. I don't know. You never know what to expect without, putting faces to the name and everything else, but then to actually walk the campus and see everything that goes with it, it's been really good.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, can't wait. Gonna hop a plane to Omaha for a software conference.
Right.
Sounds like a party.
Sounds riveting.
Yeah, so I like that though. Low expectations.
Low expectations.
That's what I always want in my life.
That's right.
Especially for my wife. Like, just keep it low.
Then we can just knock it out of the park.
I'll try my best.
That's good.
Good.
Brandon, let's talk about your background. Give us a background on you, but also on Iowa Skilled Trades.
Sure. My background is kind of, if we're going to talk building industry anyway, grew up in the trades. My family has been in the plumbing business for over 40 years. My grandma, who's over 90, still shows up every day to the office and opens the doors. My parents were invested in that business for over 30 years. And then, so, just growing up in plumbing outside of school, then I got hired by Ferguson, an international company really. Worked in Vegas during the housing boom, in Colorado and Omaha, and then back to Des Moines, actually, and then got into real estate for 8 years, and then moved on to actually doing workforce development for this Iowa Skilled Trades thing full-time through the Home Builder Association of both Des Moines and Iowa. And that is kind of an initiative, if that's what you can call it, really like a movement behind trying to bring careers to the trades and, like workforce development, but then also, collaborating with people like Nick Schiffer with the Keep Craft Alives and the Fine Home Buildings and the Builders of Instagram, and just trying to spread it nationally as well. So we're a young movement, if you want to say that. We're probably only 2.5 years old, but we've made a lot of big impact in our first couple of years.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. So Des Moines, Iowa is where you're based, but you're trying to spread the word nationally, and you do that through networking with other young construction professionals that sort of get it.
Absolutely. I'm the super weirdo that reaches out to people online, on Instagram mostly, but also through Facebook or Twitter or whatever. LinkedIn is one of my favorite places on the planet. And I always say that. People are like, LinkedIn? I'm like, yeah, there's a lot going on there. But
that's your new tagline.
There's a lot going on here.
There's a lot going on here.
Check us out.
Should be ours.
I mean, people our age at least, like the younger ones, and people, there are some that are even older than us that they're on there and they're engaging, and they are trying to actively, make that next generation of tradesmen and women, and like the Keep Craft Alive thing, where they want to bring, a sense of pride back into it. So, like that's who we're reaching out to, try and, create relationships and network with those guys.
That's awesome.
It's super important. We've talked about it in a few episodes. There is a labor shortage.
Yes.
And you can slice that a million different ways of whys and what a labor shortage actually means. But the bottom line is, and we talked a little bit this off air. There you go.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't think people think it's cool to be blue collar.
Yeah.
Or a blue collar job or right out of high school. And I think it should be cool. You're going to make some money right away. Like that's one of your angles as well, right?
Absolutely.
Just like your speaking point.
Yeah, I don't think that it's funny to me. Growing up in it, I have a very different view of what blue collar is, and I don't think blue collar is even a term that necessarily exists anymore.
Probably, yeah.
Everything's changed quite a bit. I would say even, my parents made great money when they were doing it, but even now you can make so much more money because there's even less people doing it. It is truly a skilled niche area where, so I always say, like, if you wanted to be a handyman in that under $35,000 to $45,000 business, maybe remodeling, quick bathroom remodels, quick hit this and that, you could make a ton of money doing that. Set your own prices, because most remodelers won't take jobs that are under, like, the $40,000 range, especially if they're established remodeler, I should say. They're not going to take those jobs. because their business is too big, too much overhead. They can't afford to take a job that small. So somebody taking those jobs could really make a huge impact right away and probably franchise that business and put it all over the place.
Yeah. I mean,
Good idea.
plumbers, electricians, I mean, like, we just were doing plumbing in our house, and the rate that I was being charged, I was like, this is better than like what I think we pay our doctor. Like, I mean, in terms of pay, there's a lot of money on the table for these guys.
Like every Tom, Dick, and Harry is going to college and becoming like a BDR or like a CPA or like whatever, right?
Yeah.
Not many people are doing actual skilled trades at age 18. By the time Joe College is back, done partying for 4 years, or in my case, 6.5.
A lot of people go to school for 6.5 years.
Yeah,
they're called doctors. Yeah. Derailed you with that
I
one.
was
Sorry.
working. That person's 4 years ahead, with experience, with making money, all that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There's such a huge gap out there between even like, so when we were doing an event a few years ago, they were telling us that the youngest heavy equipment operator, I believe, was like mid-20s, right? Then the next one was 10 years older, and then the next one after that, mid-30-year-old, was in their 50s.
Jeez.
And there was only one of the one in the 20s and maybe a few in the 30s, and then everybody else was that much older. So you just had a huge gap there created, and those heavy equipment operators are making a ton of money.
Yeah.
They're really actually in some areas doing it, I don't know, autonomous vehicles in a way where you're sitting here almost like they do drones, where you're sitting at your house or like in a little hut, and the cat or the excavator or whatever could be 200 miles away.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Technology.
Yeah.
It's changing the industry.
It
Take
is.
it easy, Tech Tom.
Tech Tom. I was going to jump all over that.
I know you were.
Oh, we could go right into robots. But think about it.
Oh,
so like
man.
with AI doing like, AI is going to take white collar jobs before it takes blue collar jobs, if blue collar exists, right?
Yeah. That makes
Because
sense.
there is no robot ready to go out and do plumbing yet. But there are things like, within what Google has created, able to take like statisticians' jobs, which are high-paying jobs. I believe it was one of the highest-paying jobs in 2018. Like, those jobs are going to go away, actually taken by real robots, paralegals, things like that can go in and just harvest information. Those jobs are going to go away before our jobs go away in the trades.
So you guys, job security, you're pitching as well
Yeah, absolutely.
against technology. Absolutely. That makes sense.
So tell me a little bit more about the trades that we're talking about here. Give us a rundown of the gamut that we're talking about.
I'm a little bit different because I open everything open to the trades. To me, like even advanced manufacturing in a way is a trade, right? Like even if you're somebody putting in, like, so I worked at Lennox putting heaters and air conditioning units together. That to me is a trade. And it's so much cleaner than what everybody makes out. There was LED lights and the floors were clean and everything else, but I would say mechanics. So your automotive, then you bring in your people like, obviously your carpenters, your welders, your things like that, but those jobs even go across multiple platforms, if that's what you want to say, or multiple industries. Like a welder could be anywhere in any industry, really, So it's just everything, I think, that includes. So like from commercial to residential construction, obviously those are the trades. Then you look at your heavy, like maybe your heavy industrial, some of that, and then also like your highway, your transportation, I would include. That's a trade. I mean, those people out there working their hands, they know more to do with concrete than I could even figure out with clay. They've been doing it for years, so that is definitely a trade to me too. So I'm a little bit more open and inclusive in what I would consider a trade.
And the goal here is, again, to raise awareness about this program, but also to get young people interested in this and show them that there is good money to be made here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just even showing the kids. The biggest complaint that you'll hear from most of them is showing the parents.
Right, because the parents are driving them to whatever they want to be, right? Go be a lawyer, right? Whatever.
Like I think it's natural instinct.
I think I saw that in a movie somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a doctor.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everyone wants their kids to be a doctor and lawyer. Really?
And apparently they're also all from the East Coast.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't know why I went New York on that.
Apparently.
I've got a lot.
You got a lot to offer.
My parents never did that to me. They knew.
Did they?
They knew that I was barking up the wrong tree. there was no like, hey, Paul, let's go to law school. They're like, hey, go any school.
Yeah. We'll take anything.
Just get there.
But
then again, they were pushing me to school.
Right. I think it's just natural for the parents to want something better for their kids, and I understand that. I'm a parent too. I still, I grew up differently, so I am not going to push my kids either way. But I know a lot of people do. They just want something better. Our job is to show them that this is something better. You can earn while you learn. Technically, the thing is that, it is lifelong learning if you enter one of these trades. Mm-hmm. And if you want to just keep leveling up and be better, you want to be the business owner. You could start from the bottom, be the business owner. I know you guys are going to talk to Nick, but even his story, there's so many good stories where they're starting as, a framer or deck builder or whatever, then they go to building their own business and then they have their own crew and everything else, and then branching out to remodeling and new homes. There's just so many different levels to what we do.
Yeah, most of our guests on the podcast, we talked to them about, hey, what's your story? How'd you get into it? Many of them were, hey, I was good at this, so I decided to start my own business. It's why our company takes upon ourselves to say, hey, not only do we want to show you Buildertrend and how can you get better at project management communication, but we also want to layer in how you can get better at your business side of things, because you were a trade and you're really good at doing that, but sometimes that doesn't transition into being a good business owner, so we like supporting them that way too.
Yeah, and I think that's where you see, I know other people talk about it, is where you see some of that the skilled labor gap or the whatever. It's actually kind of more of a a training gap in there. But if you're empowering them and you're building them to be better business owners or better employees or whatever, they might not even leave your company. They might stay with you forever because of loyalty, because you're showing them how to build these, you're empowering them with this knowledge and going out and learning these things that they'll stick around. And, that's on us too, to provide that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's cool.
So tell us more about Iowa Skilled Trade. You guys have a campus in Des Moines, is that right?
Correct. It's actually called the Skilled Trades Academy at Central Campus.
That's a sweet name.
Yeah. Sounds really
I feel like the Avengers music should be playing in the background.
Speaking about names, you said something earlier, so earn while you learn. That should be your logo.
Earn while you learn is actually...
That's a great one.
It's definitely an apprenticeship motto.
Oh, good.
That they use, whether it's union or non-union, but it is a motto that a lot of people use. And right now in Iowa, they're definitely pushing hard on apprenticeships. And we're trying to help create those apprenticeships too. Not as easy as it sounds, work in progress, but we are working on to try and do that. So the Skilled Trades Academy is at a central campus. It's downtown Des Moines. The school's been there for a very long time. It used to be a Model T factory, which just fits perfectly for the Skilled Trades Academy, right? Mm-hmm. Offer a lot of different niche programs like marine biology, fashion, radio, television, like that type of just really cool stuff where you can go in and learn outside of your normal high school programs. Welding existed there and carpentry existed there off and on forever. Welding's kind of been the staple, but we wanted to create a place in the Des Moines area where everybody could come and have these other schools from around the metro. We call it like the Golden Circle. Come in and, if you live in Waukee or if you live in Johnston, technically you can go to there and you can learn the skilled trades. So basically we privately funded this school through industry partners, like your Craig Tools and we had the Home Builders Association, and we had some of our largest builders in the metro, Hubble Homes, donate to build this. So we've built over $2 million to be able to put this program on, and we're, helping create curriculum and helping do all these things. So we offer plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, drywall or finishing, all those. And of course, the welding program is still there and awesome. And then the carpentry program has actually expanded from what it was to what it is now. So.
And you were telling me earlier, so a high school student in your area, he can go to your school and get credits back to his high school.
Correct. So, and the way that we're trying to build it too is actually right now we're working with NCCER and then also a union, and then also trying to just figure out, what works best, whether it's a community college curriculum, whether it's this NCCER curriculum, which is actually industry accepted through union and non-union, or is it this union piece, or is it that's the piece that's accepted more for electric and carpentry, so we'll use this one for that or whatever. So that's kind of a part that we've continued to tweak. But yeah, using the NCCER, at least that way, they're getting their core, and it's accepted outside of once you graduate high school, union, non-union, accepted both ways. The kids can pick which path they want to go, but we're giving them what they need to start some of like the OSHA training, things like that.
Apprenticeship, like what makes an apprenticeship not just my first job out of college and I train on the job? Like what is officially an apprenticeship? Like what does that mean?
So technically that could be your first job out of college, could be an apprenticeship, but it has to be, I don't know if licensed, but certified through the U.S. Department of Labor.
Okay.
We'll have apprenticeship programs, then your states have their apprenticeship programs. So right now there's a big push through Future Ready Iowa to have, to build our workforce or skilled workers. Well, you have to have some of those apprenticeships in place to be able to do that, and they're not all, for high school age kids, obviously they're for people of all ages, but it just allows businesses kind of to get involved with this education process, if that makes sense, to, like the HBA, where I'm from, could technically have our apprenticeship, maybe even through one of our builders or through one of our remodelers, or have one of our own. Somebody could come up through that apprenticeship, possibly get credits going into union or whatever.
What is the advantage for a business to have an apprenticeship program over just hiring kids and training them? That's what I'm trying to understand that from a business point of view.
I would say some of the dollars for education that are available is part of that. Like possibly you could get funding to be able to create those programs.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you're creating the workforce, but part of that is they're maybe giving you some dollars to be able to create that curriculum or use that curriculum to, instead of doing one kid, maybe you're doing 20, 30, 40, whatever. I would say that's probably part of the benefit of having their apprenticeship program.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Cool. Bring apprenticeships back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the ultimate goal? Like, where do you want to see this program go? What's the future look like of it?
Oh, I've got all sorts of crazy goals. I probably can't even say them all.
He's a visionary.
Yeah, like to me,
I like visionaries.
With Iowa Skilled Trades is like we just keep doing what we're doing. Like we are growing slowly. We've been around for 2.5 years, but we've made huge impacts in what we've done. I want to keep being able to make those impacts, keep collaborating and teaming up with who we're teaming up with, like our unions and our non-unions, and just going across not only those lines, but also state lines. We're talking to like Nick Schiffer and those guys with Modern Craftsman, and in Vegas when we all met up there for International Builder Show, we had a meetup with Builders of Instagram, Modern Craftsman, Tradesmen of Instagram, doing events like that. So then we're not just helping our cause, we're helping the national cause at that point. We raised money for 2 different women's groups that day on separate coasts. So one on the New York side and then one on the Oregon side. So it was awesome to be able to keep doing stuff like that. I mean, sky's the limit as far as I'm concerned. I do want to create more apprenticeships and have something like a template, because creating it is the hardest part. So if we can create a template where then our people can go and just be like, hey, I want to create an apprenticeship, we just give them a folder that's already created or like an electronic document, and all they have to do is fill out we did all the work. It's ready for you. We want to keep giving scholarships. We want to keep building our program at Central Campus, but I would love to see satellites. There are other places that have done satellites, like where you can get adult education and, maybe like those kids in our rural areas can get to, not everybody can come to Central Campus, right? Right. So we have all these old empty rural schools. Tear them down to the studs, remodel them, make them where you can do some niche learning for different programs, not just skilled trades, but have those out there. I think creating stuff like that would be amazing, and having those opportunities available. Yeah. So, like I said, it's just
a lot of plans.
Yeah.
Well, you told me a stat earlier. What's the average age of construction workforce right now?
So average age nationally, I believe, is 59.
59. So you think we have an issue now? Wait 5 years when they all retire.
That's the biggest thing that everybody is finally getting.
Right.
Like I said it earlier, my dad's 65 and still working, but there's so many people that are ready at that 65 where I'm out.
Yep.
So in the 6 years, what's going to happen? What we don't even know. We can't even begin to fathom what's going to happen. So you think prices are high now for a plumber?
Right.
Just wait. Yeah. Maybe I'll go get my plumbing license.
Yeah, no kidding.
I grew up in plumbing. I could probably do it. But there's going to be a lot of opportunities out there, and that's part of what our mission is too. Allow people to see your opportunity for growth right away. is huge.
Yep. Exactly.
So,
Yeah. A wise man once told me there's a lot of ways to make a living, and I would say the opportunity is definitely out there
Yeah.
if you want it.
I would agree.
So,
The thing with opportunities too, and the trades in general, is everybody it just thinks that you have to be the one getting dirty, swinging the hammer, blah blah blah. In my opinion, if you're an interior designer and you work with custom homes, you're in the trades. So like, there's just different aspects to what you do, but you're involved in making this bigger workforce. So like, like you could work on, I brought up Apple and Facebook earlier. You could be working on one of those projects, but you could be a project manager who's never actually stepped foot on the job. You know what I mean? Like, you're not out there swinging a hammer and doing that stuff. So parents need to know that too, and teachers need to know that, like, you're not always the one doing this backbreaking work. And, a lot of it now isn't always backbreaking. They have those exoskeletons that you can wear now that take the weight for, picking up drywall or shingles or whatever. And our parents can't even imagine that stuff.
I love the technology angle again.
You don't want me to go to robots, I'm telling you.
It's the future.
Let's take that off air. And I'll go somewhere else. You guys talk robots.
We will do that.
I think it's really awesome what you're doing, because you're really putting yourself, you're not trying to go be a plumber and make a ton of money at this, taking advantage of the situation. You're trying to do a way bigger thing to solve it. And I think that's really commendable.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I appreciate it, and appreciate the platform today. This is, like I said, we're just kind of getting started, but we've had a ton of momentum and a ton of movement, and we like what we see so far, and just going to keep on going.
It's awesome, man.
So we'll make sure we put in for our listeners into our show notes page, which is at buildertrend.com/podcast. We'll put in your website, information that we talked about today, but how people can get involved potentially in Iowa's skilled trades.
Absolutely.
So
that'd be awesome.
Make sure you check that out. Thanks so much, Brandon, for joining us on the podcast today. We had a great time talking. Thank you. Talking shop.
Great time talking tech.
Well, we had a great time talking.
You guys did.
It's going to get real weird out there.
Yeah, it is. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Love what you heard? Don't forget to rate and subscribe to our podcast so you can hear from more guests that will benefit your business. Also, please check out our show notes page for more information on what we discussed on this episode. You can find it at buildertrend.com/podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on The Building Code.
Appreciate you.